Right. So I think I mentioned this before, but you can assign shortcuts to as you please in Excel. So go here to keyboard and under Edit, Paste Special, I've assigned a shortcut Command Shift V. You can obviously assign whatever shortcut you want, but in my case, now previously I'd selected these multiple cells. So I open a new sheet and I want to hit Apple Shift V. Oh, I've lost it because I opened the. Hang on, let me hit Apple C again. Okay. So go here, Apple Shift V, and it asks you how you want to paste it. Transpose. So now we have these horizontally pasted cells. It's very important that you take this step of copying from here, opening a sheet, and transposing it before you go down to the Prism, because if you do it directly, for some reason the whole thing gets messed up. So anyway, hit Apple C now that it's been successfully transposed, and then what was this? What did I think it was median particle, right? So median particle, and then you just hit Apple V actually, because you don't even need to hit Apple Shift T. Actually, you shouldn't, because now you've copied it horizontally. So if you hit Apple Shift T, it will transpose it vertically. So that will actually be very counterproductive. So just hit Apple V, and you see it pasted everything. These numbers got erased because they're not part of what I'd copied. So it copied a blank space over them. Normally when you have a blank sheet, obviously you're going to have to fill these in anyway. 4, 2, 3, and then 3. Okay, so by doing that, you save yourself a little bit of time. And when you're naming these things, just, again, I don't mean to sound pedantic, just hit Apple C, come down here, and paste it. And so that way there will be continuity in terms of the naming between these columns and these rows. So this is what your sheet should look like once you're done. Experimental subjects across the top, and then the various parameters that we are studying in the rows that go vertically. Make sure that you take this parameter. Oh, it's not here. Hang on. So this, by the way, is the first sheet that I did. So this sheet is not exactly correct, but that's okay. You don't have to worry about it because I've done this myself. These ones, this sheet is going to look more similar to what you will be working with. Obviously, if you want to, you can kind of extend the. I don't know why these things automatically collapse their width, but at any rate, what I was going to say is make sure that you include area fraction. It's not in here either. Again, you don't have to worry about 8 versus 13 because I will take care of that myself. But, like, for example, one of you is getting a 16-year-old comparison. So whoever's getting a 16-year-old comparison is going to have a really easy time because there's only a few pictures. But anyway, I was going to say, make sure that you include area fraction as a measurement. As you can see, it's right down here. So include that, and again, she should look like this. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Once your sheet is correctly configured and has all the information that it needs, you should have all 13 rows, and then however many experimental and control subjects you're supposed to have. In the case of the 16-year-old comparison, there's, instead of the 4 that you see here, there's only going to be 2. So 1106 is the 16-year-old control, I believe, and 4669 is the autistic, right? So, as I said, whoever gets 16-year-old is going to have an easy time. Once you have everything configured correctly, then go to File, or actually go to Analyze, Two-Way ANOVA, hit OK, and again, I've already done this one, so okay. And then make sure that Bonferroni post tests are selected. And this is very important. If you have, like in our case, we have multiple autistics and then one control. And that control is in column A. So it's very important that you select, compare each column to column A, right? So, and then you don't really have to rename these, so just leave them as column factor and row factor. And then hit OK. Once you do that, but this is the data table, right? This is column A. That's our experimental subject. And these are our three, excuse me, I said that backwards. This is column A. This is our control subject. And these are our experimental subjects. So it's important that each of these is compared to the control. That's the whole point of what we're doing. So once you do the ANOVA, you're going to come across this menu, this results sheet. And again, you don't really need to worry about interpreting this just yet, because I'm sure a couple of you may not know what ANOVAs are. But all you have to do at this juncture is just say Apple A, Apple C, pretty standard fare. Go back to the spreadsheet that you're working on, which is here, right? And then just paste it. So here I've pasted the data sheet, right? This is that the columns and the rows. So you know what this is. And then this is the result. This is the ANOVA test. See, it actually says 2A ANOVA. So just paste this into the Excel sheets that I send you, and that's it. So once you do that, you're finished with this particular sheet, and you move on to the next one. The 8 versus 13, I'll probably end up doing myself because it's the hardest and most complicated. And then I'll send you other sheets that are simpler, like for example this one, right? This is 16-year-old. So this is going to be a pretty easy sheet to do. And that, I believe, is everything that you need to know with regards to this procedure. So make sure that oh, I spoke too soon. Right. So the 16-year-old, this is 16-year-old white matter, and then you have another sheet which is 16-year-old layer 1, right? The nuances are in the file names, layer 1, and then 16-year-old, what is this? Deep layer. And here again you have a similar situation. If I check 16-year-old comparison, 1322 is the control, right? So we have one control, and then, oh, so we have two controls and one autism. So this is kind of a reverse situation, but basically the procedure doesn't change, it's the same. And then obviously the different sheets are separated by brain region. So white matter versus layer 1 versus deep layer. Okay, that's all you need to know. So if you have any questions, do let me know.